What is the situation now around the world, and in particular with Europe, in relation to quarantine? If I went to France, Spain, Italy tomorrow, what would happen to me?
Well, if you go tomorrow, by then we would have heard the announcement, which is that, currently you can fly even today to European countries. And if you are flying from the UK, then there is no mandatory quarantine for the majority of those European countries. In some countries, there is an advisory quarantine. But the UK want to try and smoothen this out with this map that they're going to reveal, where they're going to grade countries green, amber, red, depending on the risk. And ultimately, if it's green or amber, the Brits will be able to go and come back without quarantine. But I feel that there really isn't enough change in terms of we are still very much in a pandemic. There are still no health protection measures for aviation. The UK is still shying away from announcing a testing plan for passengers like the rest of the world. And the conversations I've had with airline CEOs say that this do-nothing approach is not sustainable.
Would you fly at the moment?
I do not feel that there are enough health protection measures in place to at least satisfy the frequency that I would normally fly. I would normally be on a plane every 3 days. And yet in the UK, it's that line, it's that nothing has changed. Henry Smith, Conservative MP, you said that you are part of the Future of Aviation Committee. Where are the health protection measures in place? Where is the plans to follow the rest of the world with testing for passenger arrivals? Where are the passenger contact tracing systems? Where are the nationwide health protection measures at airports, like screening, consistency across the country? We're still not looking outside. And I think, again, with the poorly timed quarantine, we are making a second mistake, saying that July and August holidays, pandemic holidays, will suddenly recover the economy and the air travel sector. But what happens to the airlines when they face a long, hard winter where COVID-19 is unable to coexist with air travel because there are no health protection measures in place?
I'll take that as one of the great no's of all time.
Yeah.
Professor Sridhar, would you fly?
Currently, I would not fly, just because I get exactly what Alex was saying. I don't think the measures are in place. I guess I would say non-essential travel. I mean, if people are going to fly, I would say use masks. And the other thing to say is when you go on holiday, it's not going to be like your holiday from before. It's going to be masks in many of these settings. It's going to be distancing. I would just love to see a focus in the summer in the UK on suppressing the virus, getting the cases really low, and looking ahead 6 to 8 months to the winter, because the NHS coped, but it coped because it became the COVID health service.
Let's
so
just
have that happen again.
Okay, let's just put Alex's points to Henry Smith. Where are all those measures to make us confident about getting on a plane again?
Well, I should correct Alex. It's not a committee. We don't make decisions on the conditions of air travel. We're a group of like-minded MPs across the political spectrum that is really advocating that we get our...
Yeah, but the question stands, doesn't it? You know, you want to encourage people to get back on a plane. Where are the measures to encourage them?
But I do agree that testing is a part of that. So, for example, in Gatwick Airport, they have one of the largest public testing areas for COVID-19 in one of their car parks. I believe that should be able to be deployed for incoming passengers.
But that's not part of That's not part of the aviation strategy, is it? That's just geographically located at Gatwick. Still, in terms of a long-term strategy so that COVID-19 can exist with frequent air travel, with business travel, there are still no measures. Aircraft are still cleaned once every 24 hours, just like when there was no pandemic. If we are hearing everything about surfaces and everything we can touch, why has there not been a ramp up on cleaning and sanitization on aircraft? Why is the mandatory mask policy not being enforced on all airlines? There are still loopholes. I think without these measures, the UK's aviation strategy is still hoping this will just go away. And Professor Devi, who is arguably the voice of reason throughout this pandemic, states that COVID-19 isn't going anywhere and we have to learn to eliminate that. And I think with aviation, to abandon it now is making the same mistake as abandoning it in the beginning, where 20 million people flew in with no checks, no measures and no tests.